Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this statutory meeting to elect the next Mayor and Deputy Mayor of the East Gippsland Shire Council. My name is Anthony Basford, CEO. I now declare the meeting open at 6 o'clock. The statutory meeting held on the 30th of October 2018 elected Councillor Natalie O'Connell as Mayor in accordance with Section 72(1)(a) of the Local Government Act 1989. The term of Councillor O'Connell as Council's previous Mayor ended at 6 a.m. on the day of the election of the Mayor, which is today, Tuesday the 29th of October 2019. Therefore, in accordance with Clause L 2.5 of Council's Local Law Number 1 Procedures for Council Meetings, the Chief Executive Officer assumes the role of temporary chairman of this meeting to accept nominations for the election of the Mayor and conduct the election of the Mayor election of the Mayor. Before I start, there's a couple of housekeeping items. East Gippsland Shire Council live streams, records and publishes its meetings via webcasting to enhance the accessibility of its meetings to the broader East Gippsland community. These recordings are also archived and available for viewing by the public or used for publicity or information purposes. At the appropriate time during the meeting, any members of the gallery who are addressing Council will have their image, comments or submissions recorded. No other person has the right to record Council meetings unless approval has been granted by the Chair. Please ensure that mobile phones and other electronic devices are turned off or in silent mode for the duration of the meeting. Councillors, I would like to remind you as well to make sure that your microphone is turned on when you are speaking. On behalf of Council, I would like to acknowledge the Gunai people, the traditional owners of the land on which we are gathered, and pay our respects to their elders past and present. I would also like to acknowledge some past mayors and councillors that we have in the chamber today in the gallery. Brenda Murray and Michael Freshwater, welcome. Former Councillor Jeanette Wagner, welcome. And we also have the Chair of the Audit Committee, Michael McStephen, here. So thank you for your attendance. I have not received, item 1.3, I've not received any apologies. Councillors, are there any apologies that I'm not aware of? Councillors, item 1.4, I will now call, are there any declarations of conflicts of interest in relation to the matters before us tonight? None have been advised. 1.5, I wish to advise that the next ordinary council meeting will be held on Tuesday the 12th of November 2019 at the Orbost Service Centre, 1 Ruskin Street, Orbost, commencing at 1 p.m. Item 2, which is why we are all here, election of the Mayor.
Excuse me, Mr Chair, if I may.
Councillor Peltz.
If I might just intervene and just have a bit of a question. I was curious as to whether there was going to be a formal thanking or a formal accolade to Councillor O'Connell for her 12 months' work as the Mayor at this stage, prior to the new one being put in place. Sorry, it was just a process curiosity.
Thank you for the question. There is an opportunity. For the previous Mayor, Councillor Natalie O'Connell, to say some words. There is not on the run sheet in terms of a time at this point in the meeting for that to occur. There can be, if councillors wish there to be. By all means, let me know, and I'm happy to do so before we move into the election of the Mayor.
From my point of view, I just sort of think it's a nice finishing off of Councillor O'Connell's journey for the last 12 months to be formally recognised and congratulated and tributed to, and then the start of the new Mayor would start after she's been formally recognised for her good work throughout the last 12 months. That was all.
So, Councillor Peltz, are you moving that as a motion for the group to consider?
I guess I would like to. I think it's a protocol procedure, and I think it's probably appropriate that it should be done in that manner.
Do I have a seconder to that motion then? Seconded by Councillor Roberts. Yes. Things are the wrong way round. Councillor Roberts. Councillor Peltz, do you want to say a few words?
Yes, if I may. I just, and I hate to muck up the proceedings, but I just feel that in the way of runnings, I think it's a more appropriate addressing of Councillor O'Connell's or our previous mayor's journey from the last 12 months, and I think it's more appropriate that that gets finalised and then we move into the new session of the new mayor and the new deputy mayor, that the whole process is completed for the journey. That was all. That's where it's come from.
Thank you, Councillor Peltz. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to add anything?
Nothing further to add.
Councillors, all those in favour? Someone speaking against? Councillor Reeves.
Oh, look, thanks, Councillor Peltz, for that a motion without warning. But my recollection is that there's ample time later in the proceedings to actually combine those conversations and to welcome the new mayor and acknowledge the previous mayor. And that's what we've done in the past, and that's what I'd planned for from the running sheet. There's nothing wrong with what you're suggesting. It's just that the way it was flowing seemed to be fine to me.
Councillors, do I have any speakers for the motion? Are there any other speakers against the motion? Councillor Buckley.
Sort that out. Thanks, Dick. I can see that far now. And yeah, I think that let's get on with it. And thank you for your interest, Councillor Reeve. But we're this far along the track, I don't intend to oppose anything. And let's get on with it. And my personal thanks too go to Nat. I think you've done a wonderful job. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councillors, if there are no further speakers, I'll put the motion forward. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried. Item 2, election of the mayor. I'll just say a quick preamble. The mayor has several roles that are both legislative and functional. The legislative requirements are outlined in section 73 of the Act. The Act states that the mayor takes precedence at all municipal proceedings within the municipality and must also take the chair at all meetings of the council of which he or she is present. The mayor is required to provide leadership and promote positive relationships and model good governance. The mayor also has a leadership role in liaising with important stakeholders from the community, business and other tiers of government to promote the interests of the community and residents and the priorities of council. In doing so, the mayor should reflect the views of the council and not individual views. Their responsibility is to articulate council policies and the positions fairly and accurately. The mayor also has a significant ceremonial role to play at civic events such as citizenship ceremonies. Councillors, I would like to advise that the 1920 mayoral and deputy mayoral terms will be slightly shorter than 1 year due to the scheduled Victorian local government general election. The terms will end at 6 a.m. on election day, Saturday the 24th of October 2020. Accordingly, a motion to determine the term is not required given the prescribed date of the general election being 1 year out at the 24th of October 2020. I'll be calling for nominations shortly, but as a guide, councillors may nominate themselves and nominations do not require a seconder. In the business paper it is clear on how a nomination should be worded. So on that basis, I would now call for nominations for the mayor for the 1920 year. Councillor Peltz.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. I'd like to formally nominate Councillor John White for the position of Mayor of East Gippsland Shire Council for the 2019-2020 council year.
Thank you, Councillor Peltz. Councillor Rotino.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to nominate Councillor Colin Toohey for the position of Mayor of East Gippsland Shire Council for the 2019-20 council year.
Thank you, Councillor Rotino. Now, just to clarify, Councillor White, do you accept the nomination?
I do accept the nomination, Mr. CEO. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor White. Councillor Toohey, do you accept the nomination?
I'm happy to accept the nomination, Mr. CEO.
Thank you. And just to be clear, are there any further nominations for the position of Mayor? There being no further nominations, there is now an opportunity for each nominee to speak. And I would like to just confirm that as we have recently updated our local law, I will just read the relevant section of that in relation to speaking times. That in order to, applying the principle of speaking times as of the local law number 1 L7.52, I've asked the General Manager of Business Excellence, Mr. Cannizzaro, to monitor the time, which reads, unless determined otherwise by the Chair prior to any speaker addressing Council on a particular item, each speaker on that item will be allowed no more than 5 minutes. So the protocol here is that the person nominated first speaks first. So Councillor White, you have 5 minutes to speak if you wish so.
Mr Acting Chair, I would like to ask that discretion be given to the 5-minute rule to give the candidates the unfair opportunity to speak on their behalves and for other councillors to speak at a later time in recognition of the importance of the role of Mayor and of Deputy Mayor in this council.
Councillors, the speaking times are as per our local law, which has been adopted by all councillors. If there was to be a change in that time, I believe that it would require a motion from the floor to change that time, and I appreciate that it says unless determined otherwise by the Chair. However, that has been the position that was adopted by Council. So if Councillor Ellis, if you wish to move that as a motion to extend the speaking time, I'll have some discretion to that. Obviously, I'm not going to cut the person off right up 5 minutes if there is only time to go, but it is broadly 5 minutes to speak. So I'll leave it. What would you like to do, Councillor Ellis?
I would have preferred that you made a decision, Mr CEO, but that being the case, it puts Council in a difficulty where I think it's only fair to all that I put the motion to Council that in this particular meeting, and I'm talking about this meeting only, the extension be applied.
Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Roberts. Councillor Ellis, do you wish to say anything further towards that motion?
Just in my words of discussion, I have felt that this is probably one of the most, if one of the most, next to our budget meeting, one of the most important meetings of the Council's life, and particularly going into the final year of the current term. I encourage councillors to support me just to give each of you an opportunity to speak on behalf of the nominees and in fact and in terms of the recognition of the outgoing Mayor. There's no tricks involved with this application. I just think it's a matter of fairness, and traditionally this meeting had been separate from the impact of the local law, and in practice I don't think we looked when we discussed creating the 5-minute rule or more that it would be applied so in this particular case. I commend my recommendation to councillors.
Thank you, Councillor Ellis. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to say anything?
Thank you, Mr CEO. I'll just reiterate fellow councillors' sentiment. I can't see any particular harm with extending the speaking times, especially under a special occasion like this evening, and I think it's good to let the people that want to speak, give them some breathing space. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Is there any speakers for the motion? Councillor Buckley?
Yes, thank you, Mr CEO. I don't think it's going to lead to a filibuster, so I will support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Buckley. Thank you, Councillor Buckley. Is there any councillor speaking against the motion?
Yes, I'll speak against it, and respectfully I understand where you're coming from, Councillor Ellis, but in deference to the people who have been nominated, who have probably planned and prepared their speeches to that time, I think that without that further discussion beforehand, it creates an unfair situation. I think it's good to be succinct. I think if you can't say it in 5 minutes and get the message across, then you might be filibustering, as Councillor Buckley suggested. So I think we just need to get on with it, hear from our nominees, and they can do it in 5 minutes. And as you said, Mr Chair, you've got a bit of discretion. We're not going to cut somebody off if it's 5 minutes and 20 seconds, especially if they're winding up.
Thank you, Councillor Reeves. Is there any speaker for the motion? Councillor Peltz?
Yes, I'd just like to say when we were actually deliberating over that motion, I felt that it was actually more entwined or more relevant to people coming to the table and talking to the councillors, and I didn't actually realise at the time it was actually also intended for the councillor group, because normally it would be we can chat and debate as much as we like on anything, and I didn't realise that 5-minute limitation was actually being utilised towards the councillors as well. So I will be voting against or with the motion for this evening on the basis that I was unaware it was going to be taken so liberally. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Peltz. Any further speakers against the motion? Any further speakers for the motion? Right of reply, Councillor Ellis?
Just on the right of reply and taking note of Councillor Reeves' points, I acknowledge the argument that he's put forward, but I take advantage on the word of fairness and would like the councillors to turn Councillor Reeves' consideration of fairness to the wider perspective. If someone, either Councillor Toohey in this case or Councillor White, gets a little bit tongue-tied or gets, a bit nervous, they can then move ahead, and we're showing complete fairness to them. Appreciate that we don't want night-long speeches or filibusters, but in a matter of fairness, it gives everyone an opportunity to do it. I've seen councillors in previous elections with 10 pages of notes, and it's never been considered unfair and nor challenged. So in that point, I put it to councillors that this is a motion worthy of support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ellis. On that basis, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? 4, 5. All those against? The motion is carried 5-4. Councillor White, you have 5 minutes with some discretion. You have some discretion in terms of the time.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. If the clock's on, I don't think I'm going to make 5 minutes. Oh, sorry, that was a pause. I've lost 10. Firstly, Natalie, it's been a pleasure acting as your deputy this year, and you have shown a lot of vibrance and enthusiasm, and but in acting as your deputy, you have helped me gain experience through filling in at times, and one that I've said before, notable to me and extremely satisfying was doing a citizenship ceremony, welcoming people from overseas who wish to make not only Australia their home, but East Gippsland their home, and that was something that is still held dearly by me. I've considered running for mayor at this stage. I feel that I have gained a lot of experience since I've come onto council. What I feel the most now is the people of our community, and in that I say to you that I have a good ear to listen, and I have a kind heart to take note of what people say. Also, I feel that I am the conduit between people in the community and council, and to hear people's stories and pleas that are not heard, and also to bring to council people's stories and issues that will not be heard. I really do love this region. I've been living here for 46 years and have not left my first place of residence. I'm still there. Our region is something to be admired. We are struggling at the moment with the way nature is treating us. That is also another reason why I feel that now is the time for me to be the mayor, just for the fact that I really do feel a great connect with all those who are suffering at the moment, and I'm sure that I would, through council, could be the person to assist them. And as I said before, Natalie, you've done a great job, and your attention to the people stricken by drought has been needs to be admired for what you've managed to bring to the region from the governments. And I just hope that going forward, if this is the way our season's going to treat us, that we can still advocate for more, because I firmly believe that we will need more to help the businesses and the people who live in our community. And it is our job to absolutely think of the very best things we can possibly do, and the best people we can speak to and advocate to make sure that we do not let our citizens down. As I said, I feel that we, myself personally and my family, hit probably the biggest bump in the road earlier this year that any family could ever have. And I would like to thank my fellow councillors and our CEO for their support, officers here in this room and many other officers for their support, and many members of the community. So I put myself out there as a candidate for mayor, and hope that you will support me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor White. Councillor Toohey.
Thank you, Mr CEO, and congratulations on your nomination, John. For myself, I am proud to be nominated for the mayor's position, and I thank you. Like the previous two mayors, I'll continue to advocate on behalf of our community. After serving as the Deputy Mayor to Councillor Rotino in his first term and working closely with Councillor O'Connell in this last year, I believe I have a sound understanding of the role of Mayor. Our Shire has benefited immensely from their tenacity and can-do attitude, and I look forward to continuing this legacy. My focus for the next 12 months would be to listen to and work with our community. This will drive our new council team's culture and create a more customer-focused organisation, and one that all East Gippslanders can be proud of. Councillors, along with our new CEO, have made major structural changes over the last 3 years, and now is the time to capitalise on and benefit from those changes. As one of a group of 9, I will support the vote of the majority and will prosecute the view of that majority. I will be able to devote myself full-time to this most important position and have the full support of my wife Tracy and our family. I would consider it a privilege and ask for the support of all councillors in this role. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Toohey. As we have received more than one nomination, the following will take place. I will put to the meeting the name of each nominee in the order the nominations were received, and ask councillors to vote for their preferred nominee by a show of hands. So can I have a show of hands for Councillor White as the Mayor? Thank you. Can I please have a show of hands for Councillor Toohey? I now declare that Councillor White is duly elected as Mayor for the 1920 period to 6 a.m. Saturday, the 24th of October 2020. Councillor White, I would like to congratulate you on being elected as Mayor of East Gippsland Shire Council, a prestigious and important position for the organisation, and on behalf of staff, wish you every success in the term of office, and I will happily pass over the chair to you. Please.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Personally, I would like to thank those who have supported me in electing me as mayor. But I would like to say that tomorrow will be a new day, and although we had a division here of 2 nominations for mayor, tomorrow on we are a group of 9 councillors, and our job must be firmly focused on our community and doing the very best as a unified group to support our community and to go forward and produce good outcomes both in infrastructure and social works. And I just thank you so much for that. To Colin, earlier this year, I'd be at a meeting and obviously would have struggled, and Colin would stay behind every night and make sure that I was good to drive home. And he would talk to me in the car park for sometimes over an hour just to get my head right from the pressures. We're moving forward. I'm moving forward. But to Colin, I really thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much.
Mr Mayor, could I suggest that there may be other councillors may wish to say a few words as well, if you'd like to invite that?
Yes, I would like to do that if there is anybody who wishes to speak. Councillor Peltz.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, new Mr Mayor. With regards to your position, I'm really pleased to have been able to support you this evening, and I've seen a real progression with you this year. In fact, since the start of our 4-year term of council, Councillor White has actually progressed through the positions. He did state right at the start of our 4-year term that he was interested in having the position of mayor for 1 term, and it has actually come to fruition this evening. He did actually stand as a deputy mayor to Natalie and did a great supporting role for Natalie last year. And with that, at the start of the year, we several councillors, we stated that he should go and do some upskilling in the way of meeting procedures and what is actually the role of the mayor, and he, to his gratitude, he fulfilled those requirements, and he has actually ticked all the boxes, and I think he actually learned a great deal from it and has proven that he actually really enjoyed it as well, and has proven to be a man of his word. And with that stated, I'd like to say congratulations, and I'm here to support you for your term as mayor in any way I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Peltz. Councillor Ellis.
Congratulations, Mr Mayor. Over the past 12 months, you've carried the load of Deputy Mayor to a very high level and has represented council in the civics of our Shire to a great degree. You are well recognised as a decent man, a man of integrity. You have a passion for East Gippsland, and I know that you'll share that passion with us and the wider community as you take your role through to its fruition over the next 12 months. I can't think of a better man at the moment to be the mayor. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Councillor Reeves.
Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, Woman Inji, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome everyone here to our new mayor. It's sometimes said that being the mayor is like boat ownership. The best days are the first and the last days, and the bits in between are just hard work and sometimes at great cost. And there's no doubt, and I look around this room and around this table, and I'm sure that every one of us who have been the mayor will understand that implicitly. It's hard work. And it's also said that the reason, ladies and gentlemen and councillors, when you become mayor, they give you one of those beautiful smiling portraits out on the wall out there, is because that's all your family will see of you for the next 12 months. So just be mindful of that. But let's reflect on the past 12 months before we focus firmly on the next 12 ahead with our new mayor. This time last year, the outcome of that election was Councillor O'Connell, and what a great outcome it was. How inspired and inspiring you have been, Councillor O'Connell. And in a system of local government that by its very structure and nature tends to provide or put up impediments to younger parenting people to fully participate, we're grateful to you, Natalie, for your term as mayor. I remember at the time I described Councillor O'Connell as our Jacinda Ardern, a statesperson, and I think those of us who have seen Councillor O'Connell, Mayor O'Connell, as she used to be from 6 o'clock this morning, would agree with that. And on behalf of our community, a real heartfelt thanks to you, Councillor O'Connell. Your advocacy to the current Victorian government in particular has been splendid, especially in the area of drought relief. And I know you had a direct line every other week to our Minister, Jacqueline Symes. And very few mayors can say that they'd pick up the phone. And that has made a difference. There's many past mayors around this table. We know the rights and responsibilities that come with that title. It's a role that can carry more than 60 hours a week. And remember, there's only 164 hours in a week. It requires constant attention if you let it. It's a great role. It's a role loved by our community. First among equals, the representative of those of us sitting here who, of course, represent our community. To our incoming Mayor, Mayor White, congratulations. It's a lofty role, one requiring the ability to move with great dexterity and deftness as you navigate the council way, our way forward. You'll be the face, our face at state government table, and yet the role is owned by the community, so you're theirs. Citizen number one for this community carries great privileges but also great responsibilities. Just think of this, you're the last mayor of this council, the 7th council. You're possibly the last mayor of this decade, and you've got a great opportunity to leave your mark, and I know you will. It's a memorable mark. It's often said, ladies and gentlemen and councillors, that government is best when you hardly know it's there, that the community can say, we did it ourselves. It's a role of empowerment, not being overpowered. Congratulations, Mayor. I'll be there to support you, Mayor, to ensure that we continue to be the best for our community in the best way I can. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Councillor Reeves. Councillor Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too would like to start by acknowledging the last 12 months. I think we may have skipped over that before. So while I've got the opportunity, I would like to briefly commend the work that Councillor Natalie O'Connell has completed over the last 12 months. A very tall order to undertake this task, which I think you rose to valiantly. And I'm proud to say that I got to work with you, and I think you've done a fantastic job for our region with advocacy, as Councillor Reeves mentioned earlier. And I think you've done an excellent job in the last 12 months, and I thank you and I congratulate you for your work. Councillor White, you've been a pleasure to work with the last 3 years, and you've been an incredibly hard worker. Mayor White, I should say, you've been an incredibly hard worker, and as was said before, a man of your word. I don't think I've worked with anyone that shoots as straight as you, so it's a real pleasure. You may not be the most outspoken person here, but you always put your best foot forward, and whatever you do is in the best interest of the community, and I commend that. And I really look forward to working alongside you in the next 12 months. So congratulations as the Mayor, and let's have another year.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. I would just like to add one more thing, and unfortunately you don't get a Guernsey in this one. I would just like to say, looking around the table, that I believe if I need help or if I stumble, there are 5, around this table, there are 5 previous mayors. There is also a previous deputy mayor, and even down there, the end, an old Shire president. So I believe I will have great support, and I'm in very, very good company. Is there still... Okay, Colin. Councillor Toohey.
Mayor White, congratulations. I must say I was very pleased to be considered alongside yourself. I'm very happy for you and more than happy to work with you. I must say one of the things that has happened for me over this last 3 years is the friendship that I have gained with you. So that is something that I will take forward for a long time, and I really look forward to working with you. If I may for a moment, Natalie O'Connell, great work. For those of you who don't realise, I've sat next to Natalie over the last 12 months and I've seen her grow immensely. And what she's done for our community can't really be understated. So congratulations. And again, John, great job. Well done.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Congratulations. I know that you've been keen for some time to have a crack at this role. I also know that in 2016 you were elected because you wanted to see some change. I think you could say that you have seen some of that change, and this last year will be really important. But I'd like to just to say a few words on our outgoing mayor. Councillor Natalie O'Connell came to office as mayor this time last year, and it'd be fair to say that council tensions were very high. Your strong personable leadership shone through, guided by your endeavour to do the very best for your community, family and the East Gippsland region. Armed with a set of technical skills combined with your emotional intelligence and soft skills, you have delivered. Tackling the severe issues affecting our community, you advocated strongly and respectfully for our fair share at the East Gippsland Local Government Network, regional level, and especially, as mentioned by Councillor Reeves, at state and federal government level. The key priorities and themes that have continued through this term, and you certainly have been a strong advocate for them, is providing a long-term strategic vision for the East Gippsland community, prioritising the health of our community, delivering a council that is community and customer focused, streamlining and improving community planning and consultation process to support our community needs, working with education providers to create opportunities that not only retain our young people in East Gippsland, but also drive key economic development to give those that do leave for any reason an opportunity to return one day. Making it easier to live in East Gippsland, a focus on critical infrastructure like roads, telecommunications and all things internet, planning and accessibility. Proactively promoting East Gippsland at every opportunity, advocating for small business, the very engine room of any regional economy, creating opportunities for local people to attain local jobs, making tourism and the visitor economy a priority for our region, supporting entrepreneurship, cutting through red tape and supporting key businesses in our region, thus allowing them to collaborate, innovate and grow. This is a very brief, quick snapshot and not doing justice to the great work you've done this year. I'd like to thank your family for the time you have dedicated to the role and the exemplary execution of your duties as Mayor. Thank you.
I'd just like to thank all the councillors briefly for their really kind words. It's been a pleasure to work with you all, but I'll leave my sort of speech to the end. John, or Mayor White, congratulations on your appointment. I wish you all the best for the upcoming year, the last year of our council term. I really appreciate and thank you for your role as Deputy this year. It's been great to work alongside you and I look forward to continuing to work with you for the rest of the year. Thank you and congratulations.
Well, thank you very much for that, and I'm sure everybody has absolutely meant the words of praise they've put on you. Oh, Councillor Buckley.
Yeah, thanks, John. I won't have to say much because with the feeling I'm getting, I'll be able to roll it all into one shortly. And anyway, you've done a great job, mate, before, and just keep it up and hope we can get it all together and keep it going. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Buckley. Now I think we probably should move things along and actually call for nominations for Deputy Mayor.
Mr Mayor, I have would like to take the honour to, in recognition of the wonderful service Councillor Buckley has provided to our community over the past 25 years and heading out to 27 years, I beg your pardon, for the last 27 years. And that as a form of recognition, I would like to, for that service, and I'd like to speak to him, to Councillor Buckley's position and place in our community later, but at this time I would like to nominate Councillor Buckley to the position of Deputy Mayor and Acting Mayor when circumstances arise, as provided under Section 73, subsection 3 of the Local Government Act 1989 of East Gippsland Shire Council for the year 2019-2020. I commend Councillor Buckley's nomination to you, councillors.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Buckley, do you accept the nomination?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have Councillor Buckley as a nomination. Have we other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Toohey to consider Deputy Mayor's role.
Sorry, do you accept the nomination? Thank you for putting me on the spot, Councillor Rotino. Yes, I will. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Mayor White, I'm just going to throw another spanner into the works and nominate Councillor Jackson Roberts for the role of Deputy Mayor.
Councillor Roberts, do you accept the nomination?
Well, I'm deeply flattered, Councillor Reeves, and I do appreciate the sentiment. I don't think now is my time, so I will reluctantly not accept the nomination this evening. Thank you, though.
So do we have any more nominations? No, we're not doing another lap. I will say then that would each of you in turn like to speak? Councillor Buckley first. You were nominated first.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. Well, I'll have to say a bit more now, won't I, than I thought I'd have to. I won't turn it into a filibuster. Don't worry about that. Yeah, well, I'll take firstly to thank Natalie what she's done. And I realise this is a much greater role than it used to be back in the days when, with the old Shire, when we were, some people used to say, we're an old boys club or little more than a poor man's House of Lords. And we used to have one councillor for every 64 constituents. And now it's one councillor for every 4,500 or something like that. So things have vastly changed, and there's much more work and much more concentration needed, and it's a much bigger job altogether. And when these sort of positions came up, like president and deputy president, I'm pretty sure we had one, and we used to take it in turns. And it's a different story now, so you didn't have to put so much effort into a speech because it was already done for you. And if I get this position, I'd like to ask the staff to write the letters in, the prepared speeches in fairly big letters so that I can get through them all right. So look, this really sprung on me a bit, so I haven't got a prepared speech, so we'll leave it at that. And again, for the great job Natalie's done, and I'm sure that you will put your top effort into your position, Mr Mayor. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Buckley. Now, Councillor Toohey, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Mayor White. I must say I wasn't aware of this nomination until a couple of minutes ago. So I have served as a Deputy Mayor initially, as I said earlier on, to Councillor Rotino. I would be proud to serve as the Deputy to support you in your role, which I understand will be difficult, and I'd be more than happy to be the sort of person that I think the community wants, which is someone that cares about the community and is out there to do whatever they can for the community. So I'm more than happy with the nomination and would look for support of other councillors. Thank you.
All right, we've got to the stage where we will have the vote. So a show of hands, going with the order of nomination. Those who are in support of Councillor Buckley, raise their hands. The vote is 5-4. You do need to vote for. Yeah, well, show of hands, please, for Councillor Toohey. So we have four votes for Councillor Toohey. So from the outcome of that vote, I would declare Councillor Buckley our Deputy Mayor for the 2020.
Mr Mayor, may I say a few words on behalf of Councillor Buckley?
This is going to be a hell of a ride, isn't it? I think you should, Councillor Ellis.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you for nominating Councillor Toohey. Councillor Buckley has been a servant of this community for the majority of his adult life. He's been a person that's stood for different issues over the years. Sometimes we agree with Ben, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we see him as being too bloody quirky, other times we see him on the money. He's a man that has a sharp intellect. He's now in the final years of his community life, and I consider that the nomination for him as a Deputy Mayor is a recognition of all these years of service. He can be assured that and I'm sure I can speak on a number of other councillors at this table, that we will help him in his position should the demands of the role become too much. Councillor Buckley has been a most active councillor right up until the current time. He's here at every meeting. He attends all civic functions and has an opinion on many, many things. He is an exemplary member of our community, and councillors, I'm really proud to have been able to nominate him tonight as recognition of his service and the fact that he still is able to contribute to it. Anyone who attended the recent celebration of the Seniors' Year in the last month would have seen how popular he was with that particular sector of our community and how well received by all members of the community that you engage with. So, congratulations, Councillor Buckley.
Okay, Councillor Roberts would like to speak also.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I don't have anything prepared, but I would like to also commend Councillor Buckley for being appointed to the position of Deputy Mayor. And I would like to just state that over the time of the period of this council, I've really appreciated our time together, and we've had some really good discussion around the table. And as well as saying congratulations for becoming Deputy Mayor, I really hope that I can consider you my friend. It's been really, really nice getting to know you, and here's to many more years. So thanks, mate.
Councillor Peltz.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It's funny not saying Madam Mayor anymore, it's Mr Mayor. Councillor Buckley, I'm in likes of our fellow colleagues here, I'm actually in support of you being the Deputy because you are the most statesman of all of the councillors, And with regards to the extraordinary contribution that you've given to this community over your 27 years of community input, I just am absolutely in awe and respect for you and how you've always managed to delegate your way out of or negotiate your way out of predicaments that most people could not normally do. You are... Well, you've managed to do it, that's for sure. And with regards to if any of the work, I know that your health's not 100%, and this position we feel is an honorary role for you, and the other councillors at the table some of the councillors at the table have agreed to pick up where you don't feel like you can fulfil those areas, and we don't expect you to overload yourself and do this role without support from the people at the table here. Every year that I've been, for the last 11 years that I've been a councillor, you have always topped the polls at getting the most votes, and with regards to that, you are the most liked councillor at this table. And I have to say, with respect to the community, we give you this role on regards of the basis of this. And people, they may not think that you're the best man for the job, but for us at the table, we believe you've well and truly done your role, and I absolutely am really privileged to be able to support you in it. Thank you.
Councillor Tui, you'd like to say something?
Councillor Buckley, I can't. There's not much more to say after Councillor Alison Peltz, but what I would like to say is that, and agree with Jackson in some ways, we've had some very interesting and robust conversations after meetings, and there's been numerous times where it's been suggested that there's perhaps 10 minutes that we might not get back. Each one of those 10 minutes I have enjoyed, so congratulations, well done.
All right, well, so we have our duly elected Deputy Mayor. Oh, sorry, Councillor O'Connell.
Congratulations, Councillor Buckley. It'll be great to see you work in the Deputy Mayor's role, and all the best for the upcoming year. Congratulations.
Just before Councillor Rotino says a few words, I've just been informed I've already stuffed up, because this is not normal procedure at a mayoral election, but what the heck. It's a very, very good meeting, and I'm sure the gallery have been very respectful, and I think Councillor Buckley deserves these accolades. So, Councillor Rotino.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Councillor Buckley, congratulations on your position. It would be good to continue to have a representative from the High Country. I started my career working with a Buckley, and here I am working with another Buckley. Congratulations.
And it's my turn now. Thanks,
Councillor
Mayor.
we've done a lap.
Oh, congratulations, Councillor Buckley. Who would have thought all those years ago when we first met that here we'd be in the chamber together? So I've known Councillor Buckley for 20 or more years, and the first 10 years of those we seemed to be jammed in a very small aircraft in all kinds of predicaments that he managed to get us out of when I was demanding to get somewhere on time or be somewhere. And that really forged a great friendship and admiration for Councillor Buckley. That continues. We have our tete-a-tetes around this table and we have our differences, but collaboration always drives a better outcome for the community. Congratulations.
You probably would have anyway, so I will accept that.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and everybody. And I've got to correct you a little bit, Dick, on the business of attending every meeting. When was it? Not all that long back. Yes. I got awarded, what was it, Citizen of the Year, and a couple of months later I was thrown in the sin bin for 4 months. So I just couldn't get to the meetings as much as I wanted to. Look, I must admit I'm a bit overwhelmed with all this. So thank you for your confidence that you've put in me, and I'll be looking to you, Mr CEO, for a fair bit of advice for the extra jobs that I'll no doubt get and try and do my best with. So anyway, that'll do for me now, and thank you everybody too as well. Yeah, and you've stuck to me, yeah, very well. So thank you, thank you.
Okay, one of the last things that we need to do, and it is indeed an honour and it's a privilege to invite our previous Mayor, Councillor O'Connell, her husband Aaron, and 2 little girls up here to accept some gifts on behalf of Council. So come on, Natalie. I now would like to ask Councillor O'Connell if she'd like to say a few words.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Congratulations once again to our newest Mayor and our newest Deputy Mayor. I wish you all the best for the upcoming year. I've had a great year and to be honest, I can't believe it's come to an end so quickly. There are so many positive news stories in our Shire, and when you are privileged to be in the role of the Mayor, you really are in a position to see all the great things that are happening. From the many first-class businesses to the community groups, volunteers and schools, all doing wonderful things to make our community a better place. Just like to highlight a couple of events from this year. Firstly, talking at various events hosted for International Women's Day, the theme being Balance for Better. Gender balance is essential for economies and communities to thrive. It was really important to get the message out there that you can't be what you can't see. There's been a lot happening in the local government space over the past year in relation to the proposed reforms to the Local Government Act, and I was really pleased to be able to meet with the Minister and his Chief of Staff about the importance of these reforms. As we've heard, the drought has obviously played a huge role this last 3 years. We've had the Prime Minister, Premier and both the State and Federal Agriculture Ministers visit our region, and I'm proud of the advocacy that I've led on behalf of the Shire. The recent drought package announcement from the state was a welcome response to our Shire's advocacy. I've seen firsthand the value of building relationships and advocacy from our past mayors and the importance of building a profile for East Gippsland. Also, the opening of the newly refurbished Bark was very exciting. This was a huge project for council and the improvements are incredible and being enjoyed by all. It's a really terrific asset to our community. We also welcomed our new CEO, Anthony Basford, to East Gippsland, which has been a breath of fresh air to our council. Anthony has now in place his senior leadership team and a new organisational structure. I'd really like to thank and congratulate Anthony on his first year as CEO. You have achieved a significant amount in such a short time, and I've really enjoyed working with you and look forward to seeing what you continue to achieve over the next few years. I'd like to thank those councillors who have supported me in my role as Mayor this year. When I took on the role, I knew it would be a huge challenge, but also knew that it would be a fantastic opportunity. When considering whether I could be the Mayor, there were many comments made about whether I could do the job. I was young, I had 2 young children, and I lived outside of Bairnsdale. But rather than looking at the barriers, I thought about how I could make this work. I've worked hard and I feel that I've done the best I can for our community. I hope that I've opened the door and the possibility for other young mums in East Gippsland who have the passion for their community and are interested in local government to stand up and have a go. You can do it. am proud to have been the youngest mayor elected to East Gippsland Shire and also the first from the Omeo region. And lastly, to my family, my husband Aaron, who has always been my greatest supporter, my two beautiful girls, Holly and Chloe, who get dragged along to anything and everything and will hopefully have mum at home a bit more now. My dad and my sister and my brother and my auntie, who's here, who have enabled me to do this job by helping me out and supporting me no matter what. And to my mum, who has not been able to be at many of these events, but I know she would be proud. Thanks to the community for your support, and I look forward to continuing on as a councillor and supporting our vision of East Gippsland becoming the most livable region in Australia. Thank you.
That was very well done, Natalie. And again, you have provided a great lot of help to the community of East Gippsland in this last 12 months. I would like to say that I hope I don't have to follow in your footsteps with the work you've had to do in regards to the drought. I would hope that the drought breaks and that we can all breathe a sigh of relief in that regard, because it has been a very, very hard, long journey and it's still going on. So I would just hope, let's just pray for rain and I don't have to go to the ministers looking for more money. But is that time to, sorry, here we go. Oh, well, I just said meeting closed. Yeah, that's it. So
Ask everyone to join us.
yes, of course, those people in the gallery who wish to stay and join us for some nibbles and drinks, please stay. But at this stage, it says in big letters, although I think I'm going to have some competition with Councillor Buckley, it'll be to see who gets their speeches made in the biggest letters. So. Yes. So I would now declare our special meeting closed. Thank you very much.